want to thank you for the honor of being able to come to Lightning Ridge and speak to y'all about my opinions on one of my favorite subjects, black opal. I want to say it's a very high honor to speak at the International Opal and Jewelry Design Awards. I would like to thank Lynn Carney for inviting me to speak. I don't know where Lynn, can't see Lynn. And I want to congratulate all the design contestants and winners. The designs I looked at upstairs are absolutely magnificent. I want to thank everybody. I give them a round of applause for fine work. I couldn't be in Lightning Ridge without thanking the Lightning Ridge Miners Association and Maxine O'Brien. Without your efforts, it would be impossible for me and others that sell Lightning Ridge Opal to be successful. And I thank you very much. I'd like to tell you a little bit about myself. Aside from designing jewelry, the joys of my life are my sons, John Jr., a second-year law student at Southern Methodist University in Texas, and Christopher, who's here tonight, who's doing his best to keep me organized in our buying trip and doing a very good job. He's a junior majoring in business at Texas A&M University in Texas. Now, a question I get a lot is, how does a jewelry designer from Texas become obsessed with black opal? And it's simple. I fell in love with black opal 30 years ago, and it was love at first sight. In the mid-'80s, a gentleman named Lloyd Pateson, who used to come out to the Ridge, whose daughter lived in Galveston, introduced me to black opal. I immediately had him bring me back Rough and Rubs, and we did business at that time with Peter and Lisa Carroll. I don't know if they're here tonight. Very fine people, and among others on the Ridge. And then time went by, and I'm a jewelry designer in Texas. I specialized in diamonds, 10 to 20 carats. And I didn't really do a lot with black opal. I wholesaled a small number of black opals, but I mostly sold diamonds. And then in 2000, and I think most Aussies here can relate because both us Texans and Aussies like to have a drink. In 2000, by pure chance, and some Jim Beam, I must say, I met and became very good friends with an Aussie who reawakened my interest in designing jewelry with black opal. And I have to thank him very much. In 2008, I'm from Galveston, Texas. We live on an island. And we had a hurricane named Ike that devastated my life, my showroom, and I had a lot of time to reflect on what I really wanted to do with the rest of my life. It would have been easy at that time just to retire from the jewelry business. I was really bored with selling diamonds. I think diamonds are lovely. I love to sell them with black opal, but I was bored of the diamond business. So I came up with the idea of starting the Lightning Ridge collection and designing Lightning Ridge opals and diamonds my way. And I have been very successful. A lot of people tell me how lucky I've been to win this award, or for this movie star to be wearing my pieces of jewelry at the Oscars. And by the way, we're going to have pieces next month at the Emmys in Hollywood. I don't believe in luck. Well, thank you. Just found that out before we left for Australia. But I don't believe in luck. I tell those persons it takes perspiration, not luck, to be successful. And that's very true with the miners. And for the last 2 days, I've been going around with Shannon Barrett and his father Bob, and have a deep appreciation for the mining and what actually has to happen to turn that stone into something that we put on very special people's hands and necks and ears. I thought I'd give y'all a little bit of a taste of what the opal business is in the United States, some insight. I don't know I know a lot of people come to the United States and sell, Andrew among others. First of all, I named my business the Lightning Ridge Collection by John Ford so I could separate my line of opal from all others. I don't sell opal from anywhere else but Lightning Ridge, Australia. And I do that because the Lightning Ridge opal is the finest opal in the world, and it's 100% natural. In the colored stone business, it's a lot of controversy. All these different stones are treated. No one knows what's natural and what's not. We have the natural stone. We have the true gold standard of opal in the world, and that's Australian opal. And I will talk a little bit more about that later. But how I run my business is first I source my opal. I sell loose, and I design manufactured pieces for high-end jewelry stores in the United States. Currently, I have 7 stores selling my collection in the United States. And I want to tell you a little bit about the wholesale market in the United States that you may or may not be familiar with. The wholesale market is dominated at that level by the memorandum system. And the memorandum system basically means that the stores receive their jewelry on consignment. So I buy the opal, I buy the diamonds, the gold, the platinum, I design, I manufacture the pieces, and then I patiently wait for them to sell. Sometimes they sell quick and you get paid, and sometimes you wait a little bit longer to get paid, but that's the system in the United States. Along the way, I do a lot of wholesale jewelry shows. I do trunk shows at about 20 stores in the United States. And these days I say, stay very busy showing my designs and educating U.S. consumers about black opal. I wonder if anybody here has ever thought what the average American thinks about black opal. Maybe, maybe not. The fact is, it's a very much still an emerging market. The majority of Americans don't know what black opal is. They've never seen it. They're confused about opal in general. And then we have those that know black opal and they love it. So I endeavor to help my stores that carry my lines reach those that love black opal and educate other customers as we expose them to the beauty of Lightning Ridge opal, which we're being very successful at. It can be challenging in the United States. Unfortunately, there's always the profiteers, or I should say privateers. I think y'all are familiar with the term in Australia, who take advantage of the consumers by selling synthetic opal, doublets, and triplets as natural solid opal. It happens far too much in the United States. Then you have the Ethiopian hydrophane prophets who equate it with Australian opal, but never quite fully explain the difference to the consumer. Now, I believe all those stones have their place in the market when they're sold with proper disclosures to the consumer. We need to take care of the consumer to promote our opal. I can't count the number of times at gem shows and trunk shows that individuals come up to me, they may have bought it on a cruise or somewhere else, with hydrophane opal that's lost its color or crazed, or synthetic opal set in precious metals that they thought was real. It's a delicate situation, and you try to educate the customer. But this negatively affects the public's perception of opal in general. And make no mistake that these privateers are doing this around the world, and cumulatively, this is how it relates to Lightning Ridge. It will affect demand and fuel prices here ultimately. Now, this brings me to my main point. And in Texas, sometimes we take a little while to beat around the bush to get to our main point. But it's imperative that we approach all Australian opal as it was a brand. It's a novel thought. Opal is a brand. Maxine O'Brien, who I congratulated earlier, and others, are working hard to get gem labs around the world to use country of origin on certificates for Australia. And the work is difficult. It must continue. All major gem labs in the world, we must stay on them, including the Gemological Institute of America, who unfortunately to this day will not put country of origin for opal on certificates. We have to make these labs understand that country of origin is critical to protect consumers. I sincerely thank Maxine and a lot of the others with your Gemological Institute and some good friends of mine that aren't here that work very hard to separate the Australian opal on the market from all the pretenders with the gem labs. Now, what could we do as an industry? As an industry, when a consumer feels the sting of a gem privateer, it affects the integrity of the whole industry. And it's our responsibilities, as there's opal miners here, there's exporters, importers like myself, and manufacturers, to demand transparency in the opal industry. Now, how do we do that? Well, we can't control what others do. It's impossible. But what we can do, those of us that sell Lightning Ridge opal, can set an example in our business practices. First of all, we should all operate with the highest ethical standards and stand behind the opal we sell. And most importantly, we must educate the world that Lightning Ridge opals are mined in an ethical and environmentally sensitive manner and are 100% natural. There is a huge untapped market for our opals for people that want a natural gemstone. They don't want a stone that's been treated. We have to impress upon the world that our mining is done by individual entrepreneurs and relatively small claims, not large mining concerns. That there's no exploitation of children or laborers, that all facets of the mining industry are regulated. And a few people might say, well, John, why? Andrew might be thinking that. A few other people might be thinking, why? It's very simple. I have a little saying in Texas about getting painted with a brush. We don't want to get painted with the same broad brush as others around the world, whose mining practices are not responsible, whose opal is inferior, whose opal is treated, and is poised to hit the market in mass quantities currently. The gravity of differentiating all Australian opal, including Lightning Ridge opal, from inferior opal is only exacerbated by the continued transformation of many developing countries into developed countries, which we all agree is a good thing. There is a growing middle class and upper classes in the world with discretionary income. That income brings with it choices. We would like them to make a choice to buy a natural Australian opal. This presents those of us that sell Lightning Ridge opal both with an opportunity and a challenge. First, with more potential customers available, field prices should rise, which is good for the opal industry. However, emerging consumers must be educated on the distinctiveness and superior attributes of Lightning Ridge black opal before they will appreciate it and before they will buy it at what its true value is, which I consider much higher than current. It's imperative that we answer this challenge, that our industry form consumer expectations and not let others form unrealistic consumer expectations. People buy brands because they trust the product. I saw a lady in here, and I can't see with the light on me, that had a very nice Louis Vuitton purse a few minutes ago. And there's probably a few in here. So we all buy brands because we trust them. We must look at Australian opal that has over 100 years of a proven track record and is a generational gemstone as the natural brand of opal. Australian opal, whether it be boulder, whether it be white, whether it be crystal, yawa nuts, black, is the true gold standard of opal in the world. So here is our challenge, and when I close and challenge everyone here tonight. Let's work together, the miners, the exporters, the importers, to promote Lightning Ridge opal as an undeniably unique, exquisite, natural gemstone that's mined in an environmentally sensitive and ethical manner by good people. Thank you for inviting me to speak. I appreciate it very much.